And welcome back. It is now Tuesday afternoon. Uh-oh, the climate change crowd isn't going to like this analysis. Look at Al Gore. Looks like he's constipated. A new analysis has shown that the climate change crowd has been dead wrong in its predictions. Like usual. From the Daily Caller, a scientific consensus has emerged among top mainstream climate scientists that skeptics or lukewarmers were not long ago derided for suggesting. There was nearly a 2-decade-long hiatus in global warming that climate models failed to accurately predict or replicate. A new paper, led by climate scientist Benjamin Santer, adds to the ever-expanding volume of hiatus literature embracing popular arguments advanced by skeptics, and even uses satellite temperature data sets to show reduced atmospheric warming. Well, yeah, because climate change only come about when they couldn't prove it was global warming, and when a coal plant gets shut down in America or the West, they just open 2 or 3 in China. So it has nothing to do with the climate, but everything to do with the redistribution of power. More importantly, the paper discusses the failure of climate models to predict or replicate the slowdown in early 21st century global temperatures, which was another oft-derided skeptic observation. In the early 21st century, satellite-derived tropospheric warming trends were generally smaller than trends estimated from a large multi-model ensemble, reads the abstract of Santer's paper, which was published Monday. Over most of the early 21st century, however, model tropospheric warming is substantially larger than observed, reads the abstract, adding that model overestimation of tropospheric warming in the early 21st century is partly due to systemic deficiencies in some of the post-2000 external forcings used in the model simulations. The paper caught some prominent critics of global warming models by surprise. Dr. Roger Pelk Sr. tweeted, "Wow," after he read the abstract, with concedes, model tropospheric warming is substantially larger than observed for most of the early 21st century. It's more than a little shocking. Santer recently co-authored a separate paper that purported to debunk statements EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt made that global warming had leveled off, but Santer's paper only evaluated a selectively edited and out-of-context portion of Pruitt's statement by removing the term hiatus. See what they do? They're so dishonest, they couldn't even tell the truth to save their own lives, these idiots. Well, I guess they're not idiots as much as they are demons. Moreover, climate scientists mocked Texas Republican Senator Ted Cruz for talking about the global warming hiatus during a 2015 congressional hearing. Instead, activist scientists work hard to airbrush the global warming slowdown from data records and advanced media claim that it was a myth. Santer and Carl Mears, who operate the Remote Sensing Systems Satellite Temperature Data Set, authored a lengthy blog post in 2016 critical of Cruz's contention there was an 18-year hiatus in warming that climate models didn't predict. They argued examining one individual 18-year period is poor statistical practice and limited usefulness when evaluating global warming. Well, these people can try and push their BS, but we're on to them, and thank God Trump got us out of the Paris Agreement. And the Earth's heating and cooling has more to do with the sun than it has to do with us, and that's the fact. But let's take a little clip and take a little look at what Trump had to say about the climate agreement once he successfully pulled us out of it.
The Paris Climate Accord is simply the latest example of Washington entering into an agreement that disadvantages the United States to the exclusive benefit of other countries, leaving American workers, who I love, and taxpayers to absorb the cost in terms of lost jobs, lower wages, shuttered factories, and vastly diminished economic production. Thus, as of today, the United States will cease all implementation of the non-binding Paris Accord and the draconian financial and economic burdens the agreement imposes on our country. This includes ending the implementation of the nationally determined contribution and, very importantly, the Green Climate Fund, which is costing the United States a vast fortune.
Breaking. Look what the U.S. just shot down. A U.S. F-15E fighter has shot down an Iranian-made drone in Syria. From the Sun. U.S. fighter jets have shot down an Iran-made Syrian drone after it came within firing range of U.S. troops. U.S. reports claim. CNN is reporting that an F-15 jet downed a pro-regime armed drone today, claiming it was in a threatening position. Other news outlets claim defense officials had confirmed the drone had fired on coalition forces near Tanf, near the Syrian-Iraq border, before being taken out by the F-15E Strike Eagle jet. TerraCorp, Pentagon correspondent of military magazine Stars and Stripes, tweeted, "Two defense officials confirm Syria drone that fired on coalition forces near Tanf was taken out." That's one thing you don't want to mess with, is American firepower. John Ossof just voiced his opinion about voters, and it could be his downfall. Looks like a dweeb. This election is going on as we speak. Democratic Georgia special election candidate John Ossof is claiming that voters do not care that he does not live in their district. Really? Well, I certainly would want someone from my district representing me. The Daily Caller reported John Ossof, Democratic candidate in the GA06 special congressional election, is still struggling to properly explain why he doesn't currently live in the district. Republicans have attacked Ossof for living outside of the district, which he says he does to support his fiance's career. Well, it's good that he puts his fiance ahead of America. That's good to know, a typical Democrat. MSNBC's Stephanie Rule asked Ossof why he doesn't just move to the district if it could potentially help him win. Well, that's a good point. It's very easy to solve where you live, Rule said. While people respect you across the board, you desire to support your fiancé. With every point counting, why not just move? Well, Steph, voters just aren't asking me this question, Ossof replied. Voters are asking me what I'm going to do to improve our local economy. And frankly, if this is the best argument my opponents have against me, I'm feeling pretty good about the outcome tonight. Rule didn't let him slip out of the question that easily, but John, since the special election, where you were at 48.1% of the vote, things have only moved to 48.8% with $50 million under your belt, she argued. Voters care about a lot. If you look back on this and things are that tight, wouldn't you say to yourself, just get an apartment in the district? Ossof gave the same response, alleging that voters don't care whether or not he actually lives in the district. Well, why doesn't he just move states then, since people don't care? Well, if voters were raising that as a serious concern, Steph, maybe I would, he said. It's just not a major issue in the race. Well, we'll see what happens.